Hey guys, welcome back, and thank you so much for following me along on my soapy journey. So, this is the longer version of my September 2020 Soap Challenge Club entry, just so you can see a little bit more of the steps for it. This was my second attempt. My first attempt was not good. The second attempt was a little better, but still didn't love it. But I think I saved it at the end. Stick around for that. Might give you maybe an idea too. And I just had a really hard time getting the lines that I had to dump, you'll see that here in a second, to go all the way through my soap. They just kind of floated there. I don't know. It didn't matter how high I poured, how low I poured, how thick things or thin things. I've had like 3 different traces happening because I've tried 3 times total. And it's just, my third try was better, but still not all the way. So here we are getting ready to do the damn thing. So I am dumping my base color into my mold that I made out of my birthday present box. My husband got me a new 9mm. So that's in there. Well, the 9mm is not. That's what's in that box. I turned it into a slab mold. So there are my lines. I used 5 colors because I did enter the advanced category because that's just how I roll. And then here is doing the thin swirls. You just go back and forth through your soap as close together as possible. And you can go back over as long as you're not muddying anything. And then we had to put in lines like where we would cut the bars, but only vertically, not horizontally. And then we had to put in a secondary swirl, and they had to be the same in all the bars. And I went with what looks like a 3 because I used Nature's Garden fairy dust type, and I thought the 3 looked like wings. Yeah, that's as far as my brain went. So then I wrapped her up to pop her up. And this is the top. It wound up beautiful. But look at that. So much white. So I did a thing. I hacked the top off and left the white, and then chopped up all that white soap and dumped it into my crock pot so that I could just rebatch it, because I didn't like all that white. I just thought it was too much with how much it was. I don't know. I just didn't like it. So I'm going to try to save this thing and make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. So here is the top that I had hacked off. And you're going to see me, I'm going to stick it back into the mold upside down so that now the top is the bottom is what it'll be. And I kind of mushed it in and made sure everything was in so that no soap came up around the sides and whatnot. And I'm just winging this over here. Like, I just didn't like it, and I had to figure out what to do with it. So this is what I did. And then we stirred and mixed and added. And I've got one of those itty bitty little crock pots. So I had to just keep adding some soap, and that's just a little bit of water with mica in it. I just had to keep adding soap here and there because it reduces in volume as it heats up. So I just would give it a stir, and if I could fit more in, I'd add more. So I waited 30 minutes this time, gave it a stir and a mash, and a stir and a mash, and it looks terrifying in there. Added more soap. I covered my crock pot with a plastic wrap because it's also a little cheapy $10 thing, and it just a little more water, and it just doesn't seal as well. So I did that. And then we're stirring some more. Lots of stirring, guys. My arms got super tired doing this. But I'm really happy with how it turned out in the end, though it did require quite a bit of doctoring to get it to the aesthetically pleasing point that I think I got it to. For a rebatch, I think it looks fantastic. And there'll be pictures at the end so you can see real good. So, and here I'm just showing you how, see, there's just still big chunks of non-melted soap. So we just keep going and keep doing the damn thing. I left it 10 minutes. I think from here on out, I did 10 minutes at a time just because it was getting there. And then getting there, stir up. You'll see me here in a little bit where it looks like my arm's about to fall off, and I thought it was going to. There's lots of stirring in a rebatch. So we're just checking it all out. Yeah. This time I left it 15 minutes. And we're stirring it and stirring it. So anyway, I'm going to tell you some of the things I learned while we're getting through this hot process mess. I learned that it's very important to control your trace. And I think I'm adding Cheshire Cat and some sodium lactate. It's really important to learn how to control your trace for the different things that you're trying to achieve. What I think I needed to do, and I'm just whipping it here. I'm sorry for these broken up things. This is my first voiceover. What I think I needed to do was keep my base at thin and my lines thicker so that they were heavier and would fall through with more velocity. So here I am just adding it into the mold on top of well, it's essentially the top. And then I just used this little piece of thing to kind of get it down. I wanted to avoid as many air bubbles and pockets as I could because I don't like them. And then I just left it alone and let it do its thing. I left it for a couple hours. I don't remember how long it was. But then I cleaned up my crock pot and made soap balls. We use soap balls by our kitchen sink and in the bathrooms and stuff. So I really think that when you're trying to do some of these techniques, you really need to learn to control your trace. In my third batch, I left the TD out because it thickens trace too much for me for my base. I just couldn't do it. So here we are unmolding it. Yes. Oh, I'm not mad at it. It looks better. I think it looks better. So here I'm just cleaning it up a little, like it was a little wonky. So I just cleaned her up on the sides and then I set that stuff aside. And then I'm going to do the math things and try to calculate to cut this. And then you'll see me really thinking here as I'm mathing. Like my brain is just like, what? Okay, we'll go here. And then things happened. It's okay, though. I had a feeling this would happen, and I had a bit of a plan. Oh, my God, it didn't stick. Like I said, I had a bit of a plan. So what I did was I went and got some water, and I wet both the top and the bottom of the soap and smushed them together and kind of massaged it a little. And then I used, that annoying stuff. Oh my God, the word. Saran wrap to kind of wrap it up and keep pressure on it while it dried up a bit, while the water got evaporated and all the science things happened. Not all the water, because it's not going to cure in the saran wrap, but you know what I mean. The glue that I essentially used, the soap dough glue. And so you see me making sure I get quite a bit of pressure put on this with that saran wrap, hoping that that'll hold it together so that it'd adhere to itself. And then I gave it a little bit more of a massage, talked to it gently, cursed at it a little, and then talked to it gently again. And then we just went ahead and did that for all the things. So I had a feeling this would happen, so I wasn't really shocked when it did. I probably should have wet the top before I put the hot process soap back on it. You know what I mean? Like, I should have done that gluing thing before I even tried to adhere the two. So, and then I left them wrapped tightly in the saran wrap overnight. And then we did some doctoring. So I had that soap that I had trimmed off, I had wrapped up as well so that I could use it like a soap dough kind of. I'd soft still and pliable because this hasn't been cured. It's not been in the air. So I just mushed it around a bit. It was a little, it's not as nice as soap dough, obviously, because it's been through some things. It was C-popped and then hot processed. It's seen things. This soap has seen things. But I don't love the cragginess that comes from the hot processed soap. I don't know if I just didn't do it right necessarily, but most not hot processed, rebatched. Most rebatched soap I've seen kind of has that look. It's kind of hard to avoid. So this is how I decided to fix it and make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I just filled in the crags, the holes, the craters, the not so pretty lines that look like my forehead, and filled it in with some Botox. That's what I'm going to call this. This is the Botox method to soap making. Soapy Botox. So I just filled it in. As you can see here, I'm going through this one I left in regular motion. Yeah, in normal time. It's not sped up or slowed down or anything, so you could see exactly what I was doing. And I was just massaging it in, moving around from, up and down and left to right to make sure that everything got filled, and it was as smooth as possible. Now, I'm not going to lie, they are still a bit lumpy, but they were also really soft. So they're sitting on the curing rack now. Hoping that tomorrow that maybe I can smooth it out just a little more when it's a little harder. But when I tried to smooth it out too much with it as soft as it was here, it just kind of mushed around rather than smoothed out. So I just kept going, and some of the corners were a little weird, and I just sculpted it basically. I don't know. Like I said, I'm winging it here. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just kind of sat down and started playing with it. And it actually turned out pretty good. There'll be pictures at the end where you can see them. Like I said, it's still a pretty rustic looking soap, but not as rustic as it was. And just for the FYI, for those that want to know, my fragrance oil did withstand the rebatch. So here I'm fixing to show you a side-by-side. This is before and after. It looks much better if you ask me. So then we are just going to run right through the rest of these. And while we do that, let's talk some more about the soap making journey. Now, I promised myself when I joined the soap challenge that I was only going to do 2 batches per challenge, just so that I could dip my feet in and I didn't spend, because I can get a bit obsessive and like tunnel visioned. So I told myself I was only going to do 2. Well, I did 3. Pardon me. I did 3, but that was it. I only did 3. This one here, I am actually just entering as a bonus entry because the swirl on top is beautiful. Yes, it didn't go all the way through, but I think some people might find it interesting how a new soaper, this was batch 6, I believe, in my entire life, how a new soaper decided to fix some things that, when they threw a wrench in it. It's the whole point of doing this. The YouTube, the soap challenge, all the things is to help create my soapy journey. And that hopefully maybe y'all would like to come along and learn a few things. If at the very least, you'll learn what not to do when you're making the soap things. So I think it turned out pretty well, being where we started and, I keep saying hot process, the rebatch. But they wound up looking really, really good. So stick around. There'll be some more photos at the end of it completely done. This isn't them. They'll be here in a second. I have to go take them right now. But I think overall, they turned out really good. And this is my bonus entry. Thanks, guys.